Very good evening and many thanks for joining us on RwandaTV News. These are the top stories for our viewers in Rwanda and across the world. Parliament is concerned that districts that are prone to natural disasters, including Karongi and Ngororero, have no budget to deal with the disaster effects. Sweden has extradited genocide suspect Jean-Paul Micho Miza, who arrived in Kigali this Wednesday morning. Rwanda Development Board has issued assurance of the country's preparedness to host the upcoming Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, saying that there is no concern about the country's hospitality capabilities. Many thanks indeed for joining us for tonight's broadcast. I trust you're doing well. I'm Ethan Toshubia. You're watching RwandaTV News live from Kigali. Some members of parliament are concerned that districts, including Karongi and Ngororero, have no budget to deal with disasters, yet these very districts are the most affected when it comes to natural disasters. This comes at a time when the city of Kigali's budget, which was allocated 56% of the budget, was rejected due to a large number of issues to be considered. Innocent Mugabo kicks off tonight's edition with this very report.
Due to the rainy season, cases of catastrophic disasters have been reported in different parts of the country, destroying people's property and claiming lives. For the local authorities to participate in disaster management, including the establishment of emergency relief depots, the General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies on October 12, 2021, resolved that districts should be given a budget to help them fulfill these responsibilities. However, some members of parliament are concerned about districts like Ngororero, Karongi, Burera, Gisagara and Huye without a budget to address the issue. Since we are in the rainy season, I would like to ask the committee how these provinces are currently handling such cases without a budget. On the part of the city of Kigali, the budget allocated to the disaster management activities for 2021-2022 was slightly more than 1 billion Rwanda francs. However, after the reforms, it was reduced to close to 442 million Rwanda francs, which is a reduction of 56.1%. Last month, the city of Kigali told the National Budget and Patrimony Committee that 99% of those funds have now been spent. The chairperson of the National Budget and Patrimony Committee, Professor Munyaneza Omar, notes that there are issues in districts and Kigali City relevant to the budget for relief work that needs advocacy. The Commission found that disaster relief funds have been well spent despite various obstacles. There are prices offered by Minema, which were lower than the market prices, which prevented all planned activities from happening as planned. There is also the budget of the city of Kigali related to disasters not being enough to construct 221 houses and renovating 197 affected by the disasters, and the fact that the budget, which was to help in this work, got reduced. This Wednesday, the National Budget and Patrimony Committee submitted a report to the General Assembly of the Chamber of Deputies on its discussions with district, provincial and the city of Kigali authorities on the expenditure of the national budget in the first 6 months of the year 2021-2022. Members of Parliament stressed that even though some issues are still unresolved, members of Parliament commend the progress made in the budget implementation based on the views of the people. The revised national budget for 2021-2022 is more than 4.4 trillion Rwanda francs. Innocent Mugabo, RwandaTV News.
Many thanks, Innocent, for that report. Now, economic experts and local government leaders and administration are pleased that institutions are being given money from the budget according to the key projects outlined by these very institutions, as opposed to how these institutions were previously given a quarter of the budget that allocated to the planned activities, regardless of the amount of money that is allocated to the main projects, and thus a delay in many projects. Jen Mutoni has more of this report.
In the use of the budgets of the districts, provinces and city of Kigali, changes have been made to make it easier for the authorities to implement the budget, as it is provided based on the priority projects to be implemented in the first months of the fiscal year. Previously, they used to be given about a quarter of the total budget for the fiscal year, regardless of the value of the projects to be implemented, and thus delayed the planned projects. The chairperson of the Kigali City Council, Dr. Kayihura Didas, says this is a change that has made it easier for them to work, though there is still a portion of the proceeds from tax delays.
Taxes are often available at the beginning of the fiscal year from July to December. There is a struggle in collecting taxes, hence not being collected on time. But in our planning, we need to make sure that in addition to the money allocated to us, the money from taxes is also made available on time. The changes mean not just 20% of the required funds will be initially provided, but all of the money needed for the projects, which will be used in the implementation phase because we will be ready.
The chairperson of National Budget and Patrimony Committee in Parliament, Professor Omar Munyaneza, says that development projects and ideas from the people were the first to be supported.
The first thing we appreciated was the fact that the budget included projects that address the concerns of the people based on their ideas, especially development projects, and those that elevate their livelihoods. We are also pleased to see the consistency in the implementation of those projects versus before, when a project would start and then become stagnant. And even in the budget for the following year, you find that it was withdrawn before completion. That issue was resolved whereby if a project is not completed during that fiscal year, it can still be completed in the next.
Some of the causes of delays in the implementation of certain projects are delayed in obtaining the rights of the Ministry of Justice for projects over 500 million Rwandan francs, that it takes long to get the approval, and some entrepreneurs are dissatisfied with the tender process and are therefore delayed in getting the response from the Rwanda Public Procurement Authority as a result of the appeal. An economist, Straton Habyarimana, says that this is also part of the delay in the implementation of such projects.
There are those who are in charge of monitoring the implementation of the budget, and there are activities that are planned to be done, but you find that they are not monitored properly. For example, like if a bridge is to be built and the money has been allocated for its construction, you find that from its construction to the completion and inauguration, there was no supervision. Hence, a bridge that was supposed to last for 25 years couldn't even last through 3 months because it either fell to the ground or was flooded. There is also another matter of the approval of contractors getting paid that can take long, delaying the work to be done, or sometimes the payments are not even in line with what was actually done. Some projects are only 30% complete, yet 80% of the budget has been used. In such cases, contractors are tempted to just abandon the project because they do not stand to lose anything.
Chairperson of National Budget and Patrimony Committee, Professor Omar Munyaneza, says the preliminary draft of the state budget for 2022-2023 will be approved upon whether the country's vision will be achieved based on the implementation of the budget.
We are now in the process of preparing a draft budget for the coming state, which we have prepared based on the country's vision. There is a 7-year NST1 government plan from 2017-2024, which they plan to work on. There is a vision for 2050. There are various other programs you see, MPs from all over the country that we have seen and found that have not reached a satisfactory level, such as for people to have 100% clean water, electricity, and so on and so forth. So we are in the process of preparing the issues that we will discuss with the implementing agencies of these programs, to make sure that in the preparation of the budget, it will be a medium-term budget, because we have this year and the next one, to see if the budgeting meets the demands of NST1. We must talk to the government to ascertain that the set objectives of the country will be attained.
The national budget for 2021-2022 is more than 4.4 trillion. By March this year, 56.8% of the district, provincial and Kigali city budget had been spent. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thanks, Jen, for that report indeed. Now, Rwanda Development Board has issued assurance of the country's preparedness to host the upcoming Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, saying that there are no concerns about the country's hospitality capabilities. Now, while discussing the state of the private sector in the run-up to the conference, private sector players highlighted that the conference provides an opportunity to publicize their products and a platform to network with the participants. Isabel Masozera reports.
According to Rwanda Development Board, the summit slated for June 2022 is set to host more than 5,000 guests from different Commonwealth countries. It was also noted that Rwanda hosting that meeting sets the country up for bigger future opportunities. It provides a platform to market made in Rwanda products and services to participants of the meeting and the opportunity to forge key partnerships.
This
is a big opportunity for Rwanda in the private sector. We are excited because CHOGM presents many opportunities for us as entrepreneurs. We feel it is a good visibility platform for us to showcase what we do, especially what we have to offer as Rwanda as a country focused on development.
Yeah, I
think the creative industry really has an opportunity to highlight not only Rwandan culture, but also as an entertainment as well. So we're really hoping that the experience that people have during the Fashion Week also will allow them to see Rwanda as a fashion destination, but also as an entertainment destination.
The private sector was presented with some key activities planned for the meeting, including entertainment, sports such as golf, and fashion. A fashion week will be attended by Pierre Nyatombia and his company Hodbaso, tasked with both the execution of the event and a key mandate of positioning Rwanda as a fashion hub to the participants. Ariel Kagerka, head of Tourism and Conservation Department at Rwanda Development Board, reiterated that there is no doubt about Rwanda's capacity to host more than 5,000 people. We have the capacity to host the event. Here in Kigali City and its outskirts, we have double the capacity to accommodate the expected number of guests. There's room for hotels to continue improving their reception areas as well as customer care. But concerning the ability to accommodate the guests and having enough people to care for them, we are set. There are no concerns. The summit set to be held in Rwanda brings together heads of state and government, private sector players from Commonwealth countries, as well as different stakeholders in the sports and entertainment industry. Isabel Masozera, RTV News.
Thank you, Isabel, for that report. Now, Sweden has extradited genocide suspect Jean-Paul Michomyiza, who arrived in Kigali, Rwanda, early Wednesday. Now, the Rwanda National Public Prosecution Authority commends Sweden judicial authorities for their contribution to the global efforts to fight impunity. We have this report. In the early hours of Wednesday morning, the plane carrying genocide suspect Jean-Paul Michomyiza, 49 years old, arrived at Kigali International Airport after being extradited by Sweden. The government of Sweden earlier this month gave the green light to the extradition of Michomyiza to Rwanda, where he is accused of involvement in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The spokesperson of the National Public Prosecution, Foster Ngusi, commended Swedish judicial authorities for the extradition of the genocide fugitive, describing it as a contribution to the global efforts to fight impunity.
Sweden has also tried the other 3 fugitives in their domestic courts, and they are currently serving a life sentence. So they have tried 3 fugitives, and they have extradited 1 fugitive, and they have 7 extradition requests that they have to handle. So they're remaining with 3, and we really commend that for what the work they are doing. They are doing a good job. And we hope even the remaining 3 fugitives will be brought to our country. Each suspect has his own day. One day they'll be brought to justice. They'll be tried either in Rwanda or they'll be tried even in those countries, because cooperation is going on and we are working together with these countries to make sure that these people are brought to justice and the impunity that, and to make sure that those who have committed genocide and other crimes should not remain at large and be in safe haven.
During the genocide committed against the Tutsi in 1994, Michamiza was a second-year student at then the National University of Rwanda in the Faculty of Applied Sciences. As a university student, he was also a member of the committee called Committee des Cris that was instrumental in committing genocide. Michamiza is accused of leading a militia and mutilating, murdering and raping during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
I am happy that he has been extradited because he killed our people. I lost my brother who was the director here and they looted all our property. I'm happy that he's back, even though we won't get our loved ones back.
nubwo twazanye amarira ntitubona abacu ariko byadushimishije.
This was their house. They had a shop here and there was a roadblock right here. No one would go past it. It was surrounded by dead bodies. I know Micho since he was a young man. During the genocide, he was a student at the University of Rwanda. The only survivor at the university disclosed to me that Micho was leading all the killings at the university.
The arrest warrant for Michamiza Jean-Paul was handed over to Sweden in 2020. Rwanda has issued 1,147 indictments for the arrest of genocide suspects across the world. Of all the indictments issued, Democratic Republic of Congo have 408 suspects, Uganda with 227, Malawi with 63, Tanzania with 52, France with 47, Republic of Congo with 42, Belgium with 40, while Kenya has 35 suspects. Now, the Minister of Defense of Botswana, Kagiso Thomas Musi, today paid a courtesy call on Rwanda's Minister of Defense, Major General Albert Murasira, at the Defense Headquarters in Kimihurura. The two discussed bilateral defense cooperation between Rwanda and Botswana. In an interview after the meeting, Minister Kagiso Thomas Musi said that the aim of his visit is to strengthen mutual defense cooperation between Rwanda and Botswana.
The question was just as we are starting our military discussions with the Rwanda Defense Force and the Botswana Defense Force, we are here to discuss our mutual relationships and to see how we can work together, as we will be signing a joint partnership with Rwanda. Hopefully we will be signing one as we are here for the Joint Permanent Commission between Botswana and Rwanda. The relationship with Rwanda, I am looking forward and I'm very excited to it. It's a new relationship on the defense side, but we are very excited. The minister has also shown a lot of excitement, and I'm hoping that he will be coming to Botswana in July so that we can formally sign the contract together, the partnership.
In the sports news, the ACOS organization, in partnership with the city of Kigali, have started a project aimed at the prevention of unintended pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases among the youth by engaging them in recreational games and sports instead. This project will be carried out in different institutions in 3 districts that make up the city of Kigali. It will begin in May 30th with 300 people between the ages of 16 and 27. Now, the founder of ACOS, Felicity Remarika, says that this project will be conducted with studies on reproductive health supplemented by sports competitions to bring them together.
We have educated them on various topics, including leadership, sexual abuse, reproductive health, and entrepreneurship. And that is when the sports competitions come into play. The message we're trying to get across is liable to have more of an impact in that environment because the player and those that have come out to support her are reached out to all at the same time.
The Vice Mayor of the city of Kigali, who is in charge of social economic affairs, Urujeni Martin, is of the view that the youth are the strength of the country, and it is vital that they broaden their understanding of the reproductive health system.
Kigali dufite abana bageze kuri 700.
In the city of Kigali, over 700 girls had unplanned pregnancies. One of the issues we're facing is that our children themselves don't seem to know enough about reproductive health. These pregnancies are being initiated either by older men or boys their age that also need to be educated on reproductive health as well.
Folks, our time is fast spent for tonight. From me and the entire news production team, many thanks for your company tonight. I'm Ethan Tashobia. Stay well and safe. Bye for now.